I'm Milad Maliki. Everyone knows me as Harmonic Rush, and I got a side DJ name as NVU, which I do techno psychedelic as well. It's been, I think, 20 years now I've been producing, going to the darker side of psychedelics, but inducing really deep vibration into it. I just love the idea how he managed to produce house music, but having psychedelic influence into it. I was 12 years old, the first release that I've had. Yeah, I could actually tell you that. So I started sending it to them, no response. I used to wait 6 to 9 months for a response, nothing. Wow, hard work truly pays off, you know? But you know how music is, man, it's sort of like a vibe, you vibe with that, you do that. The first international gig that I got was when I was 16, 17, which was Tomorrowland, dream place to play. But in the meantime, I'm just trying to perfect the track. The first label I used to send was them, because you wanna get to that. That's a hard one, man. I wanna show my knowledge to people in a way giving them something that you could use. No matter how many times you work with music, there is always something new you learn.
Hello everybody from the Bridge Hotel in Sydney. This is Psyheads and Base Station, double party. Brother, please introduce yourself.
I'm Milad Maliki. Everyone knows me as Harmonic Rush, and I got a side DJ name as NVU, which I do techno psychedelic as well.
So what does Harmonic Rush mean, and how did you come about with that name?
That's a funny question, actually. Harmonic Rush was one of my alter egos as a young age. The name that came up to me was I was actually tripping really hard on psychedelics, and when I was looking at the frequencies as I was designing the sound, it felt like I was designing a harmonics, and the harmonics looked like it was in rush, and they were trying to connect to something. And then all of a sudden I was like Harmonic Rush, and then I came up with the name. And the name itself, every music I've produced with it, it sort of sounds like every harmonic is in rush into connecting to one another. So that's why the name Harmonic Rush came up with.
So when you came up with that name, you were already producing at the time, or you knew about music and the harmonics and all those elements?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it's been, I think, 20 years now I've been producing, and I started as a really young age. I had an alias named Milamdo, which was, everyone used to call me Milamdo, and it was a progressive trance style that I used to do. And as I was learning, learning the sound design and how to manage to get those tweaks and everything right, the name sort of come up, and I was like, I'm gonna decide and do psychedelic and induce techno with it as well. So it was a good combo, yeah. But yeah, before that I had Milamdo as well.
So what about NVO? What does that mean?
NVU, it's
NVU.
NVU, it's exactly how it sounds. When you envy someone, you say an NVU. So it's basically Harmonic Rush envying the other part of himself, and that's initially going to the darker side of psychedelics, but inducing really deep vibration into it, which is why I tried to do progressive and techno style with NVU as well.
So the Harmonic Rush, what kind of psytrance is that?
I started doing progressive psytrance with Harmonic Rush, but in a way I've grown into it. It was a bit slow for me. So when I learned a bit into music and I understood frequencies, how it works, I started to do full on and a little bit of darker side of it. So it goes basically from progressive to full on to darker side. It's a really nice transitions for it.
And NVU, this is the side techno project, as I understand, and as I understand, it's a recent project as well.
Yeah, it's fairly new. I've been working on it for 2 years, and the last release I've done, I think it was 2 years ago as well. I just finished the track, and I was like, I like the idea of it, and I want to have another side of me to show I could do a deeper side of my show a deeper side of myself as well.
So in the NVU project, what sort of artists or labels inspire you?
Oh, really good one. I think the main artist that actually got me into like, this sort of vibe was all the Xenon artists, to be first. Grouch was a big inspiration in my life. Like, I just love the idea how he managed to produce house music but having psychedelic like influence into it. And the other artist, I could say Clement is one of my absolute favorite. Like, his production skills just made me understand like, how awesome could be like to go lower BPM but still have that psychedelic like, influences in it. So if I have to say the artist that actually inspired me the most was Clement, Grouch, and Merkaba. As a matter of fact, yeah, he was a big inspiration in my life as well. Like, his music production skill is just out of ordinary. Like, I've never heard such a music like, like that you could dance to, and yet you could feel the emotion of like, every like tone, which was pretty awesome.
So when was your first release, official release on a label, for example?
I was 12 years old, the first release that I've had, and I was back in the day. It wasn't like sending online. I had to burn it on CD, and I had to like ship it to like the label company. And the label that I really wanted to get on was Armada Records, which was for Armin van Buuren. I really love trance music and progressive trance. So I started sending it to them, no response. Like, I used to wait 6 to 9 months for a response, nothing. And I was like, back in that time, it was SoundCloud was introduced. And I really got a hang of like, basically hanging out with other artists and getting to know like what's going on, how you can communicate. And I had labels actually coming to me saying like, this tracks is this release, like we want to release it. And there was like a new label as well. I don't remember what was it called, D-Max Recording or something like that. And they were like, we're keen to release one of your tracks. And at that age, I was like, hell yeah, I want to do it, So I started, I was 12 years old when I released my first track. And then from then, I just released 2 more EPs under the name Milamdo. And then I stopped because I was like, I need to learn every aspect of music, because every track I released, it wasn't mastered, it wasn't like tuned or EQ'd, it was just putting samples together to get like the idea that I have to bring the emotion. But and then from 14 years old I stopped. I just like studied, read a lot of magazine, and like understood how music and frequency actually works. And from the age of 15 I started coming up with Harmonic Rush, and then like I said, let's do it professionally. And from then on it went to like a few small labels, and then when I got the chance to finally release on Armada, which was a dream come true, they contacted saying like, we love one of your tracks. And I was like, wow, hard work truly pays off, But yeah, it started with like a small label, and I was attempting to go like on a really professional label with all professional producers and DJs. But again, I wasn't in that level, So it got me through that. I've learned heaps, and I learned like, you need to be on a certain level of like quality in music to be on those labels. And now it's just like a matter of like, finding the right style that I do and what label fits it, and just releasing with that. So I haven't done anything exclusive with any label at the moment.
Nice. So how long was the time period before you first started sending your demos to them until you actually released?
Well, it took me like a long time. Like, even though like from the age of 12 when I was sending it, every track I've made, the first label I used to send was them, because you want to get to that, So it took me probably 4 to 5 years to get there. But again, it was a lot of studying. Like, I had to learn how mixing works, why the kick and bass line relationship doesn't work well. So yeah, after 4 or 5 years, I got there. And once you're in a big label and like, your music is out there, everyone knows, then any other label like that hears the music sort of approaches to you. So at that age, around 16, like, I had labels coming left, right, center saying like, we need you to remix this, we need you to do that. So for me to get out there, I was taking all the opportunities. I was like, I'll remix that. And the biggest opportunity I got was remixing for one of my idols, which was Paul Oakenfold. And got released on Armada. It was like on a compilation. It got played on State of Trance. And like, the relationship sort of built into the trance scene. I was like, let's just do some trance and see like, how it goes. But you know how music is, man. Like, it's sort of like a vibe. Like, you vibe with that, you do that. And I'm a type of person, like, I don't want to just stick with one style. I want to explore the music, the art of music, like how fascinating it is and how amazing it is to just combine two different styles and get something new and fresh, you know. So, but it took me like 4 to 5 years to get it like on a professional label, but it was worth it.
Well, that's not too bad, I reckon. With your music career, did you get to travel much? Like, what other have you traveled internationally and played internationally?
Unfortunately, no. Like I had a lot of chances to go and do international gigs, but the issue that I had was as I was living in Dubai, I was holding a Persian passport. So to get sort of like, you know, Schengen visa and stuff like that, it was really hard for me. And since I was young and I didn't have any work, I was like a student, I had to have like, you know, certain money on my bank account and etc. etc. So the first international gig that I got was when I was 16, 17, which was Tomorrowland, and I was so bummed because I was like, man, at this age I'm gonna go play there, this is fucking sick. But every attempt I did for like getting the residence, like the visa to go there and like, you know, perform, it didn't happen. Even though I had letters from like, you know, Tomorrowland group and crew saying like, we want this artist to come here, we pay for like all of this, it's all paid for, it still got cancelled. So from there, like, you know, Tomorrowland, Ministry of Sound, like State of Trance, and Boom Festival, Azora, I had to cancel it because I was like, I can't make it. And funny enough, I actually got a chance to meet one of the guys like online who lived in Australia, and he said I could bring you here, and I was like, good luck, man, because I've tried everywhere else and I know Australia is restrict, so if you can do it, I'll play for free, you know what I mean, as a thank you. And yeah, I think I was 19 years old when I got the international gig in Australia, and the first place that I played was in Melbourne. It was Room 680, and it was the best nightclub I've ever played, man. It was so good, the crew was amazing, the crowd was sick, and everyone enjoyed psychedelic trance, and I was like, this is the place to be. And right after that, it was like a tour from playing in Melbourne and Sydney, and then I played in Oxford Art Factory as well. And after that, like, yeah, I sort of wanted to come and move to Australia because I was like, if this is my chance, I'm gonna take it. So years later passed by, like to recent now, finally I got my residency. So the chance of me like playing internationally is open now, but I'm still haven't put myself out there because I need to get everything guaranteed. And once it's all guaranteed, then I can like, you know, approach booking agencies and apply for like, you know, international gigs and stuff. So
what do you mean? What guarantees are you waiting for in terms of your residency? Or?
In my residency, yeah. Like I've got the phone call saying like, you know, it's approved, but there is a lot of paperwork that I have to prove and show. And by the time like, you know, I've sent everything, it should be all done now. So hopefully like, you know, in the next week or two, I will get the final result saying like, that's your paperwork, that's your travel document, and you can travel. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, wish you all the best. So what's your dream currently? What's your dream event to play at? What it would be?
Dream place to play? Well, if I have to play as Harmonic Rush, I always wanted to play at two festivals, my two favorite festivals, Boom Festival and Modem. Like I love those two, and I feel like, you know, every DJ, every people who goes there, they appreciate the scene, you know, like they understand what psychedelic music is all about. And as NVU, I really would love to play in Cycle, as a matter of fact, like just on the top of mountain, just cruising and playing that. I love that. Also Ministry of Sound, like I always wanted to attend that as a young kid. I always used to buy the CDs and vinyls. I would love to get a chance again to play for Ministry of Sound as well.
Nice, man. So with your NVU project, have you released anything?
I've released one track with NVU. I presented, basically said Harmonic Rush presenting NVU, and I did it with Stone Seed. Really awesome Australian label. They produce good quality like progressive and bush techno. And I have actually a few tracks planned to release for Stone Seed, but I'm working on basically analyzing and making sure the tracks are like perfectly tuned and perfectly sounding proper, so I can like, you know, start releasing with that label, but hoping to moving to Xenon and moving to like Iboga Record, which is the sort of style that I do, and it fits for those labels. But in the meantime, I'm just trying to perfect the track, as I'm a perfectionist. Like if the track is like slightly something's off, I have to rework it and make sure it's perfect. So I'm not into rush to like make the track. I always say like, quality more than quantity, you know what I mean? So NVU, definitely this year there's a lot of tracks coming, like, it will be released, but no, they don't know the dates yet at the moment.
Okay, what do you think about like Australian producers? Where do they stand in comparison to the rest of the world? Like, in terms of how good are they? How good are you guys?
Well, it's actually a really good question, because I always said if you make it in Australia, you make it everywhere. And the thing about Australian producers is that they're all unique. Everyone has brought a unique style of like, that genre, and showed something that no one ever could expect, like, you could do that. And I think there is a lot of intelligence in Australian producers. And the thing about it is like, since it's like, really far from everywhere else, like, they're usually like, trying to like work in Europe. But every Australian artist I've met and I've like, worked with, they're super intelligent. Like when it comes to music and sound, it's as if like, sitting with a racer and just takes you for a race that you've never like, experienced before. So it's definitely high intelligence, and I feel like all Australian producers level is just like right at the top. Like if you have to compare between like, countries, I would say Australia and probably Switzerland. Like, they're really intelligent when it comes to music. And if you notice, like every producer from Switzerland or Australia, every music they produce is just top quality. You will never hear a bad track ever, unless like, they just wanted to do it for fun.
Who's your favorite Australian producer?
That's a hard one, man. Because I hate picking favorites. Like I don't want to say like who's my top favorite.
Maybe 2 or 3 favorites.
3 Australian favorites. All right. Merkaba is number 1 for sure. Like his quality of music is top notch. I love Rhinoceros Works. Like it's in a different world. Like you've never experienced anything like that. And Australian producers, man, there's so many Australian producers, man. I would say Grouch as well. If I have to pick another one, Tom Cusum is also awesome. Like he's a wizard when it comes to music and like the stuff he does. Fuck man, I have to pick more. Mr. Bill, like he's awesome too. Like there's so many good ones. I can't pick a favorite. But if I have to say top favorite, like number 1, it's Merkaba. Like every track he's done from 2 aliases that he has, Merkaba and Kali Cynthia, they're all amazing.
And what about your favorite label, but non-Australian favorite label?
Favorite label, Psytrance or like any.
Yeah, you can favorite Psytrance label and favorite like Psy techno label.
Techno label would be Alula Records. I love the uniqueness in the style that they have. It's not repetitive. It's really groovy and has a nice progressive like rhythm into it. In Psytrance, I would say Nano Records. Nano Records have not released any bad quality track, and I feel like every artist who works for Nano is just top quality. And if I even have to go like to a darker side, like a little bit dark side and like Twilight style, I would choose Parvati, which is absolutely like top notch. Every track is unique and just represents like something else, like so groovy, so jungly, and it's awesome.
You've released some like sample packs before, and recently I've seen you posting about sample packs. How is that going? Have there been what response have you received in relation to that? Have there been a lot of people who are interested or using those sample packs?
It's good because when I started doing that was when I learned like how to design a sound and how you can combine them. And first time I did it, I was like, yeah, nah, I don't think this is something like everyone likes. And the first pack that I did, everyone was going off. They're like, man, this is sick, you gotta do more. And as I did more of it, since I was in Australia, I didn't have like, work permission or anything like that. I was like, I wanna show my knowledge to people in a way, like giving them something that you could use, which is initially when you produce music, like it's all good and fun when you go and sound design and like go through the process, but sometimes you just want to flick through sounds and just like the idea that you have, you just want to finish it up and lay it down. So I tried to make sound packs to make it produces life easy. So in a way, like, if you want to start with a kick drum, bass line, hi-hat, all of that, I used to design like every sound of it. And recently, every psytrance track I could hear my own preset. Like the other time I heard a track from Burning Noise, which was We Came in Peace or something. And I could just tell, man, from bass line to pluck to melody, everything was like picked from one of my sample packs. And it was just a moment of like, proud, like, fuck, man, like, if these guys using my preset, which is, they're creative and intelligent when it comes to that means something. So in a way, it actually helped a lot of like, producers to learn how the sounds was like designed and how you can manipulate that sound to create so many cool artifacts. And even big DJs using the samples, and it just feels amazing. So in a way, you learn how I've done it and how sound design could work, and you could actually use that for free royalty in your music. So it's been really good. I love doing that. I think that's my dream. Like, in a way, the way I see myself with music is to teach people, have an academy to show like, how much potential music actually has. Because no matter how many times you work with music, there is always something new you learn. There's always something new that you came across. Even though if you use the same frequency, but like, a million different like effects, from that frequency you get millions of different artifacts, and you can be like, all right, I could produce my album with that, you know what I mean? So it's really good fun, and it's been really working well for me as well.
Nice. And well, so what's your like a short to medium term goal in the music career? Like, what's the next big thing you want to achieve?
Next big thing I want to achieve?
Yeah, relatively medium term, let's say 3-5 years.
Well, I really want to finish my album. Because every time I think like, I decide to start an album, something happens. Like the first time I decided to do an album for Harmonic Rush, my hard drive blew and I've lost all of my samples, everything. I did it the second attempt, my laptop blew, and I was like, all right, cool. I don't think like it's time for me to do do an album. But yeah, I think that the main thing I really want to focus on is to just do an album for both of my artist name, and hopefully introduce my third alias, which is for drum and bass. And I've produced a few tracks of it. I've released one track under Harmonic Rush, just to see like how people feel. And I love it. Like, I love producing drum and bass, and it's just so much fun, and so you can just be so creative with it. So yeah, in the future, definitely 2 albums from each of the artist name that I have, Harmonic and NVU, and hopefully introducing a new name to drum and bass scene. So
do we know what this name might be?
Yeah, I could actually tell you that. It's a really short name, and it's funny too. So it's OWO, right? But in a way, when you actually look at the font, it looks like me when I'm always cooked like that. So it's like, it's a good representation of me. And like, when you hear a good kick and bass line, like, hitting, the first thing you say is like, ooh. So I thought of that name, and I thought maybe that could like catch up. It's short, it's easy. But yeah, I want to name it O.
That's cool, man. Looking forward to hearing that stuff. Man, thank you very much for talking to me. Happy birthday to you the other day, man. Any last words that you'd like to add?
Yeah. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on producing music. If you ever want to get into the music scene, just get onto it. Everyone can do it. It's not hard. It's not easy. It's just passion and emotion. And it takes a little bit of imagination. So peace, everyone. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. I will take your words and remember them because I want to do that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We are at Psyheads base station at the Bridge Hotel in Sydney. All the best. Stay tuned. Thank you.